Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing
Gotta
today?
Good. I gotta fix my camera. My kids have been in here.
Didn't you see that guy's comment about our sound? Fix it, you fucking
Yes.
idiots.
I know. I need to, and I will
This is a big
someday.
deal. Big deal. We're a big deal.
It's a big
And
deal. I like your shirt.
thanks, I like your shirt. It's bright.
We
So
are a
is
big
yours though. I
deal.
like the blue. Okay, I'm gonna send this to my sisters. So how's your week been?
So good.
Awesome.
Just getting used to going back to school again. Not me,
Yeah,
but
we've kind of been there. We've been, I don't know, is this 2 or 3 weeks now? 3 weeks, I think.
we're
Oh,
on. I think we're still on.
light them up, man.
Oh yeah, we're on week 3.
Awesome.
So,
So
anyways,
I just sent the link to my sisters. Anthony's hanging out with me. He's gonna honestly just
hi.
listen in because he was like, maybe I'll hear something I haven't heard before. So, oh, there's
Yeah.
Laura. Boy, yeah.
Hi.
I basically told
I'm
them
here to laugh at how cavalier you guys are about trauma.
I figured it out,
she
Mm,
figured it out. She figured it out.
kind
Hey,
of. I am in a closet.
me too.
I'm out of the closet, Belle. I mean,
So are
Laura.
we.
We're in closets too, actually.
It's about time.
Closet
Sweet.
studio.
Yeah. You're so
Well,
far away though.
I know. One second.
Come
Let
closer.
me let me scoot my
That's perfect.
heater.
Change nothing.
That is that better? Or
I
is
think
that still
so.
a mile away?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
I'll
good.
that
just lean in.
Just
yeah.
lean in
Hi
like you're.
guys. How
I
are
don't
you?
always do podcasts, but when I do,
I do it like this.
right?
And Sarah
Or is
might
this
join too. We'll see.
is that better?
Oh, really?
Better. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I have you guys propped up on a portable heater with a
Nice.
kettlebell holding my phone up.
Excellent.
Nice.
And so
So high
Sarah.
tech.
Okay, so now maybe
so high
Sarah,
tech.
can you turn your phone to the side?
Why can't I see Sarah?
You can't see Sarah?
You
Mm-mm.
gotta swipe to the side so you
All
can
I
see
can
like
see is you,
everybody.
Laura.
Oh, because you're
Which
on.
side?
I don't know. Swipe around, see what happens.
Ah,
Screen
push
happen.
button.
Okay, so today I didn't bring any candy, but we're gonna do our own version of that
Came
kid.
prepared.
Oh, you brought the
I
candy.
brought candy. I'll do your
Oh, did
candy,
you
Oh,
see?
Rach.
I didn't even think
I
about
I
brought
just
oh,
candy.
I just
I
brought
didn't mind it, but that's
I
okay.
brought
small
the
ones.
pen.
Because really, oh, she brought a pen. Good, good. And
What?
I
Well,
have weed.
Perfect.
perfect.
well, I have nothing else to contribute. I just get to listen, so I'll just start pouring candy whenever you guys like.
There you go. Well, I feel like you have memories of at least one of our foster siblings. But either way, let me set the scene. We're gonna do our
Yeah.
version of that candy
Trauma
salad trauma
candy
dumping.
salad.
Only this is gonna be foster sibling edition with a little coughing in the background. Okay, so um Laura, Sarah, and myself and the rest of our family, whatever, but we grew up and at different times
I'm
had
part of the
foster
family
siblings.
too.
Yes, you are. But we did foster care and proctor care for troubled teens and disabled teens and adults, and it led to some interesting, funny, scary situations. So today we're doing that. Sound good?
I love it. I love it. I'm excited.
All
I
right.
know I've heard a few of these, but I'm sure there's like some that I have not.
So do you guys
So,
remember the first foster sibling we had? I think it was in Goshen.
Yeah, was it loose?
Loose. I don't
Was
know if
she
she was
our
the first, but
first?
she's maybe the first one I remember too.
Yeah, because I just
I
from
don't
Goshen, I
remember
remember
other than
Rhonda
thing.
and Loose. I don't remember anybody. Oh, never mind.
I
Yes,
was
I do
gonna say you
remember.
better you definitely remember one
I
more
don't
kid
remember
there.
his name. Was it Nicholas or Christopher?
It was one of them.
I
Yeah,
think it was
no, I
Nick.
remember him,
Christopher.
but that I think
Okay,
it
so
was
loose,
Christopher.
loose. Um, I didn't have any trauma with her. I learned to
I
be
was just
cool from loose.
yes, I
She,
wanted to be loose.
So
yeah,
I
exactly.
cool.
wanted her
He
Nell
too taught us
routine.
that it was just a joke, and Mama said, "Be home
Just
by
to be home by
mid-dark."
mid-dark.
I
Yeah,
said that to Todd the other day, and he was like, can you never
Not.
say that again?"
I taught it to my
Why? It
girls.
sounds so
It
authentic.
lives on.
It was really cool. It was really cool.
Okay, so then I think after Lou's, it was either Christopher or Nicholas, because I had those two names too, but I just don't know which one was in Payson and which one was in Goshen, because they were.
I think it was Nicholas and Goshen, and Christopher was the one that lived in Payson house that like Jonathan lives in now. I
Oh.
think,
Oh,
but
right.
I don't remember.
Okay, but this is the first trauma dumping story then, was I didn't have any with Christopher, but Laura did. So tell your story of
So we were
Christopher.
at a friend's house and they had like a horse arena, and my older brother Stephen was riding a horse, and I can't remember Nicholas or Christopher, whatever his name was. He got upset about something and started throwing rocks at the horse, trying to get it to buck Stephen off. And so I told him to knock it off. So he shoved me to the ground and started punching me.
As one does.
Yes,
Oh.
but also a really funny part of this story is Rachael. She's also part of my trauma. You remember
yes,
this?
we could do a
So
whole video on that.
He
Part of all of our
like
trauma.
beat me up. The parents like took me inside. I was like laying on the couch. They called my mom. But by the time my mom got there, I was kind of like fine. And Rachel was like, keep crying so we can go get a treat.
That
You were
sounds so funny.
traumatized. Yeah.
Sounds
You'll never
about
get over
right.
this. How old were you?
I think I was in 5th grade, so 10.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that, but because I wasn't like the one he was out for,
Yeah.
like I
I think I was just such a brat that most of them didn't like me because I was like, I hate you. Fuck you.
You know
Yeah,
what?
like,
You were
how
quick
dare
to
you say-
defend people, though. You were defending Steven. That's a good
Yes.
trait. You were
Yes.
saying he knock it off, and he just didn't want to be told what to do by anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then didn't he tell some girl to beat you up or something?
That was a different one. That was the one that was in Payson. So that was when
They
I
all
was
love
in
Laura.
8th grade. Kid, I would tell him that I hated him and that he needed to move out because he was just a jerk. But he was in, I think, 9th grade. So he went to my junior high and he was dating a girl in my grade. And so he sent her to beat me up.
He had red
But
hair,
thankfully-
right?
Yes, he had red hair. And I feel like he was Nicholas or Chris.
Just
Did she come to beat you up?
She did.
How did
but
that
thankfully, I can't remember who it was. Somebody, I actually think it was Laura Lee Sketchlar, came in and was like, leave her alone. She's cool or whatever. And like kept her from beating me up.
Okay,
But-
I cannot imagine being sent to beat somebody up. Like you go face
Yeah.
somebody and you're like, like I
Yeah.
don't know. What do you
Yeah. What's
So
funny about that
massive.
same girl is who my first boyfriend cheated on me with.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, scum
She was
deserves scum,
cool.
so we're good.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
She was cool.
That's not true. I don't know either one of them. So
Yeah. And in that same house, we had Roger.
yeah, but hold on, you're skipping ahead because we forgot
wait.
about Rhonda in the Goshen
Rhonda,
house.
in Goshen, yeah.
'Cause
Sorry,
Rhonda-
I just got so excited.
Rhonda left some marks, physical. And we're
I
So-
didn't have any ones from Rhonda, but
well,
not personally. I mean, I remember them, but she
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. So the main one I remember with Rhonda was the time that Rhonda was, I don't know all the different conditions she had, but
I
she
don't.
had like the
yeah.
mentality of like a toddler basically though. And she really liked to eat. And so my mom would have to sometimes limit. She'd let her have a lot, but then she would, have to be like, all right, Rhonda, that's done. So one night, Rhonda wasn't wanting to leave the table. She wasn't going to be done eating yet, but there was no more food. So when Rhonda got up and my mom said she was done, my mom, I think she pulled the chair out or something to be like, come on, let's go. But then Rhonda threw herself down in a temper tantrum, but she was not a toddler. She was like a 30-year-old, 300-pound woman. So it was quite like it was a blow. And that really like frustrated her or got her agitated. And I actually wasn't at the table, so I heard about that part because I was in the bathroom. And the layout of this house is when you came out of the bathroom, to the left was directly down the stairs, and to the right was the room that Rhonda was staying in, or you could keep going out into the hallway there. So as I'm coming out of the bathroom, Rhonda's storming in, and I just assumed she was going for the bathroom. So I jumped in her room instead of down the stairs, and she followed me, just pounding me on the back. And then My mom pulled her off, and then she was on my mom, like in the hall, pulling her hair, and like my mom was screaming.
my
It was pretty
gosh.
traumatic. I'm not gonna lie. My dad
And your
had to
mom is
pull her-
tiny.
My mom's
Like-
like,
we're laughing, but this is awful. Like,
"Hi, Nash."
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
but then that
Yeah, that would be pretty traumatic.
I've
there's
never
that
seen
one.
Dad run so
let's dump
fast
some
as that.
candy in for
Dad
that
was
one.
he sprinted in there. Dad does not sprint.
Oh, Dad's had to sprint multiple times in defense of
Yeah.
Mom for sure.
Yeah, but that's the only time I saw it.
Okay, well, I saw another one. I'll tell you
Yeah.
about later when we get to Roger.
I was gonna say,
I
I
wasn't home
It's
for
about
that one,
Roger.
thankfully.
Do you guys have any memories of Rhonda?
I remember when
Yeah.
you
I know what Laura's going
had
with.
Emily lay in Steven's bed or something
Oh,
like that.
Yeah, I
Because
really
Rhonda
was such a
into
freaking bully of
Were
sorts. I
you
just
hoping
thought
not to
things were
tell
so
this story,
funny.
Rachel?
What?
Were you hoping not to tell this story?
No, I've told this
Oh no,
story
she's told it
before.
before.
Yeah.
Good.
But
I don't remember
I
much
had
about it, but I do remember.
well, I had Emily because Rhonda was kind of obsessed with my brother Steven, and she was like he was had to help with her in public a lot too. She just like really liked him. And so I messed with that and I had our sister Emily lay in his bed with pillows stacked on her so it looked like it was Rhonda. And I sent him into a little minty bee. And I'm sorry, Steven.
Rachel made me do it. Rachel made me do it.
I know,
That's all
but I
remember.
still hold
remember.
that Emily is 5 years older than me. Why was everyone doing what I was telling them to?
Because we were afraid of
Don't
you.
get it. Someone should have
We
been
were
like,
afraid of you.
no,
You
no,
had
I'm
all
not
the fun
gonna do
ideas.
that.
Sir.
Anyways,
You're like, this isn't trauma about me.
this
This
is the
isn't
way
your-
I
this isn't you.
traumatize people. Okay.
Is now.
So, okay. Next is the Payson house that Jonathan lives in now.
Yeah, and I don't remember who was first there. I remember Roger and Redhead, but I can't remember. Were there any other ones?
Me
Redhead?
neither. Me neither.
Yeah, Redhead's who had
Who
his
tried to get you
girlfriend
beat
try and
up.
beat me up.
I
Yeah.
don't think he was with us for all that long, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I only
Yeah.
remember Roger there.
You don't
You don't
remember
remember
Roger?
Roger?
I only remember
Oh.
Roger.
She doesn't remember Roger.
Oh, I remember Roger.
Offense
Sarah,
taken.
it's about
All the-
Roger.
Okay, so I know we all have our things with him. Sarah, just why don't you start because you haven't said anything yet. Tell your trauma dumping story with Roger.
So in the basement area where Mom had the daycare, there was a bathroom down there. It was the only one that I had access to. So I knocked on the bathroom door. The first time, he just told me to go away. But the second time, he started yelling at me and telling me that he is going to murder me, which is
Oh.
terrifying. And he just kept screaming at me. And finally, hang on, honey. Finally, I went away. I went and kicked whoever was in the upstairs bathroom, probably Dad, out. And I finally, when I came out of there, I went in the kitchen and I had to walk past Roger, who was in the kitchen sharpening a knife while he just stared me down the whole time I walked past. And I thought I was for
Good
sure
grief.
about to die.
You're like,
You're like,
it's
well, it was
great.
nice knowing y'all.
We're just sleeping in the same house.
So
It's
Roger
fine.
was a high school student. He was of American Indian descent, and he had a drinking problem already in high school. He struggled with drinking. I don't remember him ever intimidating me in that way, but it was probably because I was a little bit older, so he didn't
Yeah, I
feel as
think I was
much
in
like he
like
could.
fifth grade.
Yeah. And I was like maybe a
Great.
little closer in age to him, but younger than
You
him.
definitely weren't bigger, but you were
No,
older.
I know I wasn't bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Lara, I guess.
Mine involves the bathroom too. How cute.
You
I
know,
think. Actually, now I don't remember where the mirror was, but I was home. Roger and I were home. That was it. Nobody else was there. Or maybe I was home and he came home and he was upset about something. And
Yes,
he
he
went
was.
in the bathroom and punched a mirror and then came out and there was just like glass sticking out of his hand and blood everywhere, and he was freaking out, like almost
Oh,
like I
man.
made him do it. I don't know. So I think I blocked some of this stuff out because I don't remember details past that. I just remember I was like, all right, you're a psycho. And now you're going to kill me because you're freaking out on me. Like I just punched, like I made you punch that mirror. But yeah, it was gross. There was lots of blood. And,
Oh, man. And
yeah.
the fact that you guys are like untraumatized by it, like the way you describe it was like, yeah, that sucks. You're a psycho. It's just like
Yeah.
clearly you'd seen some things before because that's not a normal response.
No. Yeah, I guess not.
All right. So my trauma or laughable craziness that
Buddy,
was
I
when
think-
he ended up ultimately leaving our home, and it was because he came home drunk, and I don't remember all of the back and forth, the fighting, but he was just really mad at my mom because she was telling him like, you can't do this, like this is,
Well,
you know.
I remember when he came home, she was like, hey, you were supposed to be home hours ago. And then said something about like, we'll have to contact someone or something. And he was like, what'd you say about my mom, bitch? And then And then he
Yeah, and that would
started
be
freaking out.
because, you know, my mom did, she would hold the foster siblings to similar roles that we had to, obviously.
Yeah.
We were expected to come home. He was expected to come home if he was going to live in our house like that. But this particular time, sorry, he just really, really lost it. And he ended up swinging at my mom. And this was another time that my dad moved unnaturally fast. And he took the blow right in the middle of the face. And he's on blood thinners, like Coumadin and all that stuff. So it immediately was like this really dramatic thing. And my brother, Steven, he was the wrestler at the time on the high school wrestling team, just kind of restrained Roger forcefully into the concrete floor. But I was the one who had to call 911 and during all that shouting and crazy. And I just remember that was definitely
That's nuts.
just, you know, another day at the Rosier's house.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny how I remember all these things, but I never think about them. It's like I almost like I'm just like
Yeah.
thought it was fake. That didn't happen. That's a movie. That's not real.
Yeah.
I'll just
Sometimes because it really
remember.
doesn't feel real. A lot of times when I'm telling stories, like I feel like I want to call you guys to back me up because I'm like, I'm not making
I'm
this
not
shit
lying.
up.
Yes.
I'm not
exactly.
lying. And then you say I'm not lying, then you really sound like you're lying.
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay, the
lying.
funny
This is
thing
real happening.
the funny thing about that story to me is how he's like asking your mom, like, what did you say about my mom? Can you imagine your mom saying anything about anybody's mom? Like,
No.
anyway.
And that wasn't even the only time I had to call 911 in that house.
Yeah. Maybe we should all go to therapy.
This is therapy.
I guess that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
because like
Can be.
ultimately I still feel like those experiences make me a better person now. Like I feel like I am more understanding of the world around me and don't expect everybody to be just a certain way because I was exposed to a lot of stuff that wasn't normal and realized that there is no normal, that there's just a bunch of fucked up shit.
Well, it's harder to unnerve you too. Like, it's just stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
okay, so
can't change it.
I'd say my favorite foster sibling was at the last Payson house.
Paul.
My favorite was Paul. Yeah.
Do you remember Rachael though too?
Who?
Rachael. Happy birthday.
I do. Okay, Rachael is the happy birthday. I think I had moved out by the time, so I saw her a little bit, but I didn't live with her.
Debbie was the happy.
And I thought Debbie was the happy birthday too.
Debbie is happy birthday.
But I remember Rachael. I remember the name now that you say it.
Better, but I remember we had a Rachael.
About a Rachael.
I do.
No, we had a
But
Rachael.
I think that was either Goshen or
First
First Payson house.
That had her name on it.
Also, I'm pretty sure Debbie's birthday was always coming up.
Yeah, my birthday's coming up. Halloween's coming up. Christmas coming up.
I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, but I love all the stories of her because she's so funny. So for the first round of stories, though, that was all when we had troubled teens living in our home, which that was a little more difficult, I'd say, than
sure.
the disabled adults.
Oh,
Although
what's her name? Letty.
Letty, but
Letty.
Letta.
Mom,
Oh,
Sue,
Letta, yeah.
Grandma.
There's also
She
the one who,
She's
what was
so
his name?
cute.
Called
But
into your
sometimes there
guys'
was
room.
what was it? There was like
Oh,
our
and oh my
pa.
gosh, yes, there's so many.
What did
The
you just
guy-
say?
The guy that
The
had
one that
cerebral
crawled
palsy.
into your room.
Oh my
in the
God.
middle of the
No,
night.
that's my trauma. Let me tell my trauma.
Okay. Yeah, one at a time because we're starting to get a little like.
Okay.
It's just all
So
coming back.
we'll get to Paul because we got Paul's stories. But
Okay.
there's
I've got
there was
about
this
50
guy
minutes
who we
before I
don't know
have to
his
go, by
name.
the way.
No, neither of you guys remember the guy. He had cerebral palsy and he was deaf and blind. And we mostly did proctor care for him, which is when like his family like was going on a vacation or they just needed some time because he really couldn't go and appreciate those things. You know what I mean? So proctor care, he would just come stay for us. But he came repeatedly for like different times, whether on the weekend or whatever. But there was this one time where me and Laura and Sarah, I believe we were all sleeping in a full-size bed as we
I
did.
wasn't in there.
You weren't in
It
that
was
one?
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so
just
this
you
was
and
just
I.
me and you. I woke up to a man army crawling towards me.
Well,
Floor.
we listened to the radio when we slept.
Yeah.
We left the radio on.
Yeah, and I guess because he was deaf and blind, like he really could feel that. So it must have like it called him to the room. He was looking for the source of the vibrations, probably. But either
you
way,
just woke up
we
and
did
they're
not
just
know
like,
it was him at this moment. I was laying in bed, and as far as I knew, a man was very, very slowly crawling towards me in the middle of the night, in the dark. So I immediately started punching Laura as hard as I could and woke her up to tell her to go get mom. Like she was gonna jump over, you know.
Like
Oh
she's
my
sending
gosh.
me, like she's like, you do something about it.
But what's so funny is that we went from like absolute terror to
Yeah.
just like the like laughing so hard. I like it was painful because as he got closer, he had also pulled his pants down in the process. So he was a full-grown man without pants coming towards us and just so as he got to the bed and I'm laying there, he's just like it was so like it doesn't sound real at all. But then we were just still hitting each other. And I don't know if mom just eventually heard all the racket and came like, what's going on as we're beating each other up in the bed.
Luckily, mom woke up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Hey,
That
I gotta
was
go
awesome.
take Nash to school.
Hey, will you real
Okay.
quick tell your trauma from Debbie though?
From
The
Debbie?
one you told no, who's the one who you had to
Is it Letta? Is that her name?
was that
I had trauma from that too.
Laura, you caused my
Explain.
trauma from this.
you caused
Yeah?
it?
Because I
did.
freaked out about having to change your diaper one time.
Yes. And I was literally in my dress for homecoming, but mom had gone to the store and she had pooped in her diaper. And this is like a teenage girl. I had I'd had to change her diaper before, but
But you were a
not when I
CNA,
was
so
dressed
you
up.
asked
I
for
wasn't
that
yet.
duty. You were
I
going to
wasn't a
school or
CNA yet.
something.
But I
You
didn't
were
ask to
trying
do
to
it
be.
while I was literally waiting for my date to show up to take me to homecoming.
Yeah.
So I had to take off my little special gloves so I could go in there and change her diaper while literally in my homecoming dress because Laura absolutely refused to change her diaper. I was so mad.
I did it one time, and I put like somebody's socks on like up to my arms. I had a bandana tied around my face. I was like wearing like a thing on my hair, and I was just like dry heaving the
I'm
whole.
traumatized by your guys' experience. I
have
can't
a
even.
very sensitive stomach and gag reflex. Okay, Sarah.
Yeah, if you have any gag reflex like Rachel does, it's like, I don't know how you did it. So bless you all.
Oh my gosh. So I did change her diaper once, and it was very traumatic, and
lot.
that's why I refused to do it
And
ever again.
I did not because that is
Yeah,
where I put
baby.
my foot down. That was
I did
not
after
something
I
I was
made it.
capable of.
After I did it one time, I put my foot down. I was like, no, I did it. Don't ever ask me to do
That is why all the stuff fell to me.
Sorry. Oh, hi,
I've
baby.
gotta
Hey,
I've gotta go.
kiddos.
I gotta text my kids.
All right, bye,
All
guys.
right. Bye.
See you in a minute.
Say bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye. Okay, so on to Paul.
Yes. Oh, Paul, like,
None of his were traumatic at all. They
no,
were
but
just
his
No,
are
he was
funny.
cute.
Or he did the only thing that he did that made me a little uncomfortable was
Was
that he
Cookie?
liked us
Yeah.
because he was
We
still
had
a
to, we
man.
had to say we had a boyfriend.
Or I married Paul.
Or yeah.
Cookie. And I think he would really just to like mess with us because he had Down syndrome and a few
Mhm.
other things, but he was just the sweetest freaking guy, and he just idolized my dad. But yeah, our my nephew Lance got a little traumatized by him though. Do you remember that?
Uh-uh.
So we had these blow up, you know,
Oh,
you like
yes,
blow up
the
and put your fit and you
pop
can bop
boxing
it.
mitts,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we were, everybody's
I do
playing that
remember
the night
this now.
before with Paul, everything, whatever. We're all playing. But then the next day, my nephew Lance, and I think he's probably like 8 at this time, walks around the corner and Paul goes, ha ha ha, and just fucking clocked him in the head because he
Well, because he's like, he's like 5'10",
5.
300.
A
Like,
young mindset for
oh wait,
sure.
5'10". You were saying his height, not his
Oh,
age. I was like, that's a big.
I thought you were saying his age too.
5'10", what? Yeah, no.
5'10"
5'10",
5'10", like
quite
300
large.
pounds, like quite large.
Mhm.
And Lance was not.
No.
Yeah.
But just come around the corner and get boofed by
Yeah, I
Uh,
forgot about that.
Laura,
That
do you
a
was
lot
remember?
funny.
bigger than you.
Do you remember when Paul made his way to the stand finally to bear his testimony at
Oh,
church?
yes.
We had
And-
spent every week, like everybody had to sit on the outside of the pews because like Paul, he wanted to get up there. He wanted to get up there so bad. And it was so cute. But like we had on family home evenings, Paul would often need his turn and
Mhm.
he would just talk and talk. But the thing is about Paul is he didn't have like he didn't know how
Words.
to he didn't have words. He had a few words. He had John, he had pizza,
Pizza,
he had
please,
sniggera,
Sigma,
sniggera,
two,
I don't know what that
no,
was. That was
no.
his main filler.
Yeah.
But like his whole talk was like, I'm pretty sure the talk this time was telling on dad because dad
Yeah.
had
I
told
was
him
like, I
no,
think we
no.
need to know the story, the previous story
Okay, yeah, you
before
need
this
okay, so you
story.
need the previous story. So my dad, Paul just idolized him. And it's funny because Paul was like as big or bigger than my dad. But my dad would like cross his leg. Paul would sit by him and, try to cross his leg if he could and stuff like that. Like it was just so cute. But one time, we had this little dog named Gizmo, like part
Oh, I love
Maltese,
him.
so like a really small
Yeah.
dog. And Paul got mad and he kicked him or something like that. And so my dad said no, no. And that just really set, he was just so upset. He took his little police badge.
Well,
and
wait, no, there was more.
Oh, there's more. Wait, there's more.
Then
But
we were
wait.
having pizza for dinner, and he had eaten like a whole pizza, and he wanted more. And mom was like, "Paul, you're like you're gonna make yourself sick," and she wouldn't let him have any more. And that is then when he took his little fake police badge and his oxygen tank, and
Yeah, because he
ran
always
away
had and his what?
and ran
And
away.
he ran
Yeah,
away
he
from
ran
home.
away to the neighbor's
All
house.
the way to the backdoor neighbors, which was like a fourplex. So there was like he
And
started
then
knocking on their doors and held up the badge and said, "Police," or "Police," is
Please,
how he would
please.
say it. And then would basically tell him like, "John, say no,
No, no.
do and pizza," and
Pizza.
say no, no. And the neighbors called and were like, hey,
Paul's
Paul's
over here.
here."
So imagine you're the neighbor, right?
He's
And
like
somebody knocks at your door.
350 pounds. He's like a big.
Big guy. And what was the shirt that he was wearing?
Oh, it was one of Emily's. It said, I'm tired of men only wanting me for my brains. Like everything about the
forgot that
situation
detail.
was just like, we spent the rest, like after we got him to the house and had our like family home evening that night was the funniest family home evening we ever had because, and this was before he went up to talk about it at church.
Yeah.
He held a magazine in front of him and like lectured my mom and dad to the rest of us. And like, we're trying so hard not to laugh, but we all were just like rolling. It was so funny. It was John saying, no, no. Pizza, sniggera.
Yeah.
But okay, so getting back to the church thing though.
Yeah.
So he got out of the pews. We would be like, no, Paul, because we knew that he could take the whole sacrament meeting. He could take, which is like in Mormon world, it's an
Just
hour
never
long.
stop.
So, and then we would have had to go up there and it would have upset him or whatever. So This time he got away though. And it was the
I
funniest thing
remember
ever
him
to
like
me.
almost running to the pulpit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He got it. He's
like laughing.
yeah, he was going. He won. He won. But everybody there was like tears, like other people were, and they were coming
Oh
up after
yeah,
being like,
Yeah, they came
it
up and were
was so,
like,
like he was just,
felt it.
he felt such a strong urge to speak about God, like people were coming and saying all these things, but
"You
we
didn't
spent
mention
that
God
time
once. I'm sorry."
dying laughing because we knew what he was
Yeah.
talking about. Snigger, snigger, John saying, no,
Please.
pizza, snigger, 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 John, it was just, but everybody else, that whole like we're all living our own reality, our own perspective. To
Yeah.
them, it was this like hyper spiritual moment where he was
Yes.
like,
I just
he
felt
just
it
was
so
so
strong. You
filled
could
up with
just
the spirit of
feel his
God.
conviction.
Yes, and oh my God,
God placed it on his heart.
yeah.
Hallelujah.
Lara, do you remember my senior sob assembly?
I do.
I don't.
Were
Maybe
you at my
once you
senior
start
sob
talking.
assembly, Emily?
I remember it.
But you weren't there, were you?
For your senior sub? No, I was there because I do remember seeing his picture. How
So
was I
maybe you
there?
just maybe I don't know, maybe you came because I told you
Oh,
what I
when they
did.
did the slideshow and Paul
So
was,
like in our high
Yep.
it was like
school,
the picture of you with the guy.
no, that was when I had Carlos Munoz take me to a dance to make John jealous.
But
Anyway,
then,
sorry.
so it was just like, so you'd see a picture pop up. It takes everybody a second to register what it is, and it's like, oh, here's Cindy and Julie and her little friends, and you're like,
Because
fun,
most people grew up
This year,
together. So they had
So
pictures
it's like
from
yeah,
when
like
they were
grade school and
younger or whatever.
all
Yeah.
this
right.
stuff. And so everybody was supposed
So
to
it's
submit
these
pictures. And I
constant
didn't
little
grow up with
ahs and
anybody.
oohs.
So I
Yeah.
thought it'd be funny. And I think the picture I put, it was Paul with his oxygen tank, nasal cannula, and holding
Yeah.
his polka because he really loved Lawrence Welk.
Oh, yeah.
He'd play with
Oh
Lawrence
yeah,
Welk all the
With
time.
his little
polka.
accordion polka.
And he may
Mhm.
have even been in that shirt. I'm tired
I
of
think
men
so.
only wanting for my brains. But yeah, so that is what I submitted to my senior sob
Something like
assembly
that. Because
because
he had his
I didn't
underbite.
have any memories with all these people. And from like two sides of the auditorium, I think nobody else would have laughed at this picture because they were like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna
Who is this?
laugh at this
Yeah, I'm not
this
gonna
disabled
laugh at
person.
it.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, how
And
rude.
so it was just dead silence and two.
So I must have been there because I
You
was
were there.
probably one of the
Do
last
you
ones.
don't remember it?
Yeah,
I don't.
Sad. Because
I do.
I just couldn't believe
remember.
that they put it in there because I was like, so they clearly just took everything anybody gave and submitted
Uh-huh.
it. Or maybe they thought that was like a memory that more people would get, like everybody knew this guy and that's why that picture was
Yeah.
put in there.
Yeah.
But
Nope.
it was not. That was just for me.
Just for my enjoyment.
And I did enjoy it thoroughly.
Yes.
It's true. It's true.
Dana's called me like 3 times. It's probably for work crap, so I should probably go.
Okay.
All right. Well,
But
we can go
it
on
was
to the next
fun.
part of this podcast anyways. So.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well,
Thank you
enjoy.
for joining us.
Anytime.
Okay. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All good.
Okay. So
All
the
good.
main reason that I wanted to do that,
Mhm.
you have that still. Would you light it for me? It's done. Oh, okay. Was that, well, you kind of when you talked about your neighbor kid who's like been staying with you quite a bit just because her mom travels a lot, and I was thinking about how like despite all of those like what would be traumatic type experiences, I still like I see value that came from it, and just knowing how many kids are in the foster care system, I just thought, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
we could delve into that just a little bit.
Into foster care and just into
Well,
I
like because I'm really considering when my kids are old enough that we'd have the space to do that.
yeah.
And then,
Well, the thing you realize is most kids just need to feel loved and safe and like somebody wants them around, like they have a place to be, and then they kind of have to figure out the rest of life. I mean, but in order to figure out the rest of life, you have to feel wanted and you
basic
have to
needs
have,
met.
yep,
Yeah.
food to eat, clothes to wear, like you have to have those basics. And so to feel like you have those to offer somebody, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And just to know that maybe there are others who are, maybe it's like the only way that they can make money is to do that. So they're doing it, but they don't actually have like an affection or a desire to like help the
Yeah,
kids. So that's a,
there are so many places that should not be foster care
yeah.
places.
Even with like the kids who came through ours when we were taking in troubled teens and stuff like that, like I they knew that they got treated better at our house than they got treated at most. Like
Yeah.
they had to follow the rules of the house, but there was nobody trying to like, I don't know, utilize them for work or abuse them or so even it was a couple years later, but we did get a call one day from it was coming about Roger or from Roger
Oh,
after all
really?
that happened with him asking to come back. And unfortunately, my mom had to say like,
Really?
yeah, unfortunately, because I think he realized like, oh my goodness, it's just straight shit out there. Like nobody actually cares. So, but my mom had to say like, you crossed some pretty hard
Pretty
lines.
hefty lines. I
We
got to
gave
protect
you
my own kids too.
exactly, but
See, and
like,
that's the hard part is like wanting to help other people's kids and realizing like I can't sacrifice my own kids for somebody else's.
yeah,
But do you feel do you feel like you got sacrificed to help other people or
not necessarily because we we still got. I think our life would have been about the same because we just though we those kids were asked to assimilate into our life. We weren't asked to assimilate into theirs. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah. There would
they were
be less
asked to
mirror
go to
punching,
church
but
with
like
us. They were asked to just live by the same standards that we were asked to live by, which was, like you weren't bringing alcohol into the house and stuff like that, which they would
yeah,
obviously want to break because they're like, I don't believe this. And I get that, but it was kind of like
yeah.
you you have to follow rules.
Then
Plus,
them's the rules. Yeah,
them's the rules. Plus, like there's the whole your brain's not fully developed and you're doing a lot
yeah,
of damage. So it's not to say alcohol can never be used, but probably shouldn't be at that age anyway. So,
yeah. You gotta wait for that prefrontal cortex to be solidified.
yeah. So tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, about like the girl who's like stayed
Well,
with
I
you guys
can't.
here and there. No names,
I
no
can't.
nothing, just
Well, I can't say much there. I feel like
that's okay.
if they saw it, I would be saying things I shouldn't. But it's
Factually
hard.
though, is someone home with this girl often?
No. Um, I would say they're home a lot of the time, but when they decide not to be home, they just leave. And there's been times she's been home alone for days at a time, and it makes me sad
Yeah. Well,
to
because
think of.
and
I
I can
mean,
understand that a child of that age could, microwave themselves something and they're not going to put something in their mouth they shouldn't. So in that way, sure, leave them home for some time or whatever, but it's the multiple
well,
days part that
well, and I remember being that age. They're 10, and I would scare myself so bad sometimes when I was
Mm,
alone. Like you hear
yes.
the click of the heaters, or like somebody walks by the window, or you know what I mean? There's just so many things. Or you watch a movie that has a little scary feeling to it, and then all of a sudden, like you, I mean, even now, this
Yes,
morning,
I was gonna say that
I'm
was
alone at
only when you were
home.
little. 'Cause-
No, like this morning, I was home alone and I was taking a shower, and as soon as I put the soap on my eyes, I'm like, oh crap, like someone's gonna come in. Like, you know what I mean? You just get
Yeah,
that
in
eerie
those
feeling,
5 seconds when you're rinsing your face, that they knew they were waiting. Yeah,
especially at night. Like you're all alone by yourself at night,
it's just an eerie
it's
feeling. I get it.
and so it breaks my heart to think of any little kid being alone and needing someone there and like not having that. Like it just, oh, it breaks my heart. And
Yeah.
I hate the thought of kids not having what they need. And I know there's so many.
Yeah. And
There's
like
so
you
many.
said, if you have the
I
ability to kind of fulfill that need, then that can be great.
I
I don't
remember
have
what,
like the room for it yet because at
yeah.
least when we were doing it when we were younger, it was like in order to take in a foster, like an actual foster, child, you had to have a room for them, like their own room.
Yeah,
Well, that makes sense, but like that's also hard
it's
to
hard to
like
come
come
by.
by these days.
Hmm. It really is. Um, I remember one little girl that my daughter was friends with, and they did okay. Her dad was around most of the time, but there was no mom in her life, and she came when she came over, I offered to do her hair, so we braided her hair.
Mhm.
And as I'm getting the little hair tie to tie up the bottom of it, she saw the hair bows that I had. She's like, "Can I have one of those? Like, can I just have a hair bow? I've always wanted a hair bow." And my heart's like, "Take them all. You can
Yeah.
have
And
all
well,
the
I'm
hair
sure her
bows."
dad
Like,
was being the best dad he could. He probably never even thought.
doesn't even think of hair bows because it's not on his radar. But like,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's not a necessity, but at the same time, it's just like the I don't know, little things you can offer.
Yeah. Anything, yeah, brings joy to them. My girls have a lot of little things that I know I could get this because they're gonna like this, you know.
Hmm.
And they do. They like the little trinkets and stuff. Um, so I'm definitely thinking about if ever I can. And a big reason for that too is I've seen like just information about what happens to children who are in foster care for long term or age out of foster care. And um
Yeah.
sometimes it's as like they turn 18, it's literally like I saw a thing about um social worker in LA literally took her from the foster home to the homeless shelter because
Really.
yeah, so like how do we
That'd
expect?
be so hard.
Yeah.
Um, when I was younger and even to now, I had this little dream that I would like have foster kids and that everything the state gave me, I would put into an account for them and then they would just, be family members and we would just pay for their stuff like family members.
Yeah.
And then when it came time for them to go off on their own, they would have this little savings account. And I'd be like, I don't know, this is from your family. This is what your family is giving you to go off on your own and figure things out.
Yeah.
But
We
I
need
also
people who
realized that
have
it,
like a lot of money to do that, I guess.
yeah, I was gonna say, I also realized that it costs a lot to, especially when you're talking about therapies and you're talking about like
Yeah.
people who are starting with nothing. It's like,
Yeah. So might I suggest that anybody who has like a lot of money but is also very anti-abortion start doing something for the children who are here even when maybe they shouldn't be here because
mhm,
they're not living a life, they're not being cared for. Like if we're not going to create the
start
space to
there.
care for the kids, stop pushing for more kids.
Hmm.
You got the money. I don't know.
As soon as you see a few that need more love than they're getting,
I can
we
see
need
it
to fix
just
that
in
system.
like kids who have their parents,
Yeah,
but their parents don't necessarily see them, because they want
or
them
know how to be
to fit
parents.
into a certain box and they're like embarrassed if their kid doesn't fit in that box, so they don't allow them to. So,
Rough.
but outside of their home, they are kind of expressing themselves. So I see even people
Oh, I
with
see that a
parents
lot.
who go through that. So I can only imagine not having any
Yeah.
type of
Um,
um
on a related note, but slightly unrelated, I did remember one foster care situation my family had.
oh, really?
And
Okay.
yes, it was when I was really little. I was probably in first grade or something.
Mm.
My parents brought home this brand new baby, and they said, "We're gonna foster this baby for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. I can't remember what it was, but they said we're the in between when the mom had the baby and the adoption, right?"
Mhm.
So for like a week or two, we loved this baby. She was brand new. We named her baby Heather. She was so cute. And like we just loved the crap out of her. They had they gave each one of us a little baby picture of her that was really tiny.
Mhm.
And like I'd ask my mom questions like, "Where's she going?" And they're like, "We can't say anything." There was some like legal stuff going on.
Okay.
Anyways, so when she left, we'd talk about her and be like, "Oh, baby Heather, I wonder what baby Heather's doing." And it wasn't till years later, probably like 8 years later, I was going through photo albums at my grandparents' house, and one of my cousins had this little picture of baby Heather, and there she was. So I had no idea that she was adopted by my aunt and uncle. So
Oh,
kind of cool.
yeah, very cool. I
Yeah, but
wonder
I'm
why
like,
they didn't
why
tell you
didn't you
guys
tell
that.
me?
Maybe
Right?
they wanted them to be able to be the ones that told her when they were ready or something. Like
No, they
everybody
told
knew
her she
she was
was
gonna.
adopted right off. I think it had something to do with the dad in the adoption or something like that. Like there was some s- not sketchiness about the adoption, but like I don't know. It's something about I can't remember. I better not say because I don't even know. But there was something. It was fully legal. It was fully great.
Yeah.
My dad's an attorney.
Yeah.
It's all above board. We were
I'm
not
not telling
kidnapping
about a baby
children,
we stole.
right? We were not trafficking. It was yeah, fully
Yeah.
legal. But anyway, kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's
I
all.
just we actually just saw on Philly D. He did a story this yesterday on a woman who has been coming off of drugs, but taking the medicine to help you wean off drugs. And
Hmm.
the studies show that that is, that's what's safest for the mom and the baby. But because of like the
Yeah.
way the laws are and stuff like that, they had to like turn it over to, I guess, authorities. And despite the fact
Oh,
that she
really?
was, oh yeah, and I guess it happens all the time, and she had to just jump through hoop after hoop, and it's not good for the baby, it's not good for the mom, and it's kind of like you're going after the people who were there, like she's
Trying to do the
clearly
right thing.
trying to do the right thing, like, and you're
Hmm.
punishing them. Like, those aren't the kids that this is set
Yeah.
up to save, I don't think. They just, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. I think that, well, about a lot of different things. Like when a cop nails you for going 3 miles over the speed limit or something really small, it's like, whew, at least you're out there getting the bad guys. Good job, guys. Woo! If you're gonna go after people, go after the ones who are really doing wrong, not the ones who are
Yes,
trying to fix it.
right. But they just got to meet
Yeah,
their quotas.
something,
Everything's a corporation.
something. So how would you get more people more good people to foster?
I think
There are good
the
families out
start
there,
is
and
just talking about it and getting it in people's minds, because I don't think I would even think about it had I not experienced it. Experienced
yeah,
people coming into the home and realizing how many people need it. And I'm sure just the fact that I've seen, little things here or there, little blippets of
mhm,
people talking about like how the life expectancy of people who age out of foster care, so they never find a family, is
yeah,
incredibly low. Their their risks for, homelessness, drug abuse, abuse for themselves, like all kinds of things. Like their
yeah,
rates are just so much higher. So it's just this forgotten kind of group of people spawned from children who never even chose and made any choices. They're just a victim
to be
of
here, yeah,
these bad situations
circumstance.
and never having some sort of stability. So maybe more people just really need to be aware of this and start opening up their homes more. I don't know. People who
Well,
do
and it's hard.
care.
Like, I think about your parents, and I'm like, man, they were brave to allow trouble teens when they had 10 kids of their own. Like, that would that would scare me to death. I would be on edge all the
Yeah.
time. So I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. They are pretty chill, honestly. But they
They're very
also
chill.
my mom did go to school to work with special needs, and then she had some troubled teens of her own, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like,
Well,
all my older brothers, not well, with the exception of Steven, before we moved to Utah, were little juvies. Like all had been, yeah. So
they were fun though.
they were very fun, but maybe that helped her see like they're not bad. Kids get desperate. Kids want to fit in. They're also, if they're
Find
smart, they're
stuff
going to
to
find a
do.
way to enjoy their life, you know? And if the only option you give them is for them to take it, maybe they're going to do that because they don't have the ability to get a job, or they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Society works in such a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
But that I admire them a lot for doing that. Your parents.
Me too. Me
It did
too.
a lot of good for a lot of people.
And I'm glad that it didn't like they didn't start doing it until we lived in Goshen. So like none of us were under like uh, fifth grade or something by that point in time.
Yeah.
Fourth grade. So like when we were really little, we didn't have that I can remember any foster siblings. So
Yeah.
I think that was probably better. But it wasn't that they were like anything really changed because I don't know. It was business as
Hmm.
usual, whether they were there or whether they weren't.
Which is hard to do, actually. Like
Oh, I know.
to
Like
make
looking
somebody
back
else's
now.
kid follow all the rules at your house.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Making your own
Yeah, that is
kids.
hard. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're
Yep.
trying to restrict them from natural things.
That is true. But like even bedtime. Bedtime is a
Yeah,
natural thing. Go to
yeah,
freaking bed.
right.
Ah,
I used to fight about going to bed and now I just want to go to bed.
right. Well, y'all can go to bed, so can I, and we'll all be
Yes.
a lot happier. Yep.
Anyways. All right.
Well, I
So
liked
yeah.
it. I like all those stories, even though, I'm glad you guys came out unscathed.
Yeah. Well, like
Like,
like Laura said, we don't really think about it a lot. They just come to mind when, we're talking and reminiscing.
yeah,
So they don't live there as trauma, I don't think. Those particular things.
yeah.
They're
I don't think you
like
guys,
traumatic
I've never
events,
heard it.
but no, I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard you guys hold it against your parents or be like, why was this part of our life? It was just like, this is part of our life.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
And even if I met
Cool.
any one of them today, like
Mhm.
I just want to hear how it was going and hope they were doing well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly. So,
anyways. So
so here's to being
everybody
foster
go
parents
get a
in the
foster
future.
kid. Just kidding, just kidding.
But no, think about it.
But
Think
yeah,
about if you
do
can open
think,
your home and your heart to foster kids. You need love
yeah.
too.
Yeah, see, and I think because we have Elena and she's only 5, like it would have to be something I did later in life because I would, we don't have a room. Our kids still share rooms. So when we have the space though, hopefully I will be
Yeah, that
able
would be cool.
to help somebody.
Indeed.
And yay for you for doing, just seeing someone who maybe needs something and being that for them, because that'll be important to them, I'm sure.
Well, I think anybody would or anybody should. Just
Yeah.
watch
Anybody
out for the
should.
people
I
around
don't
you.
think anybody would. But I think
Well,
most of us would.
just
So
I
more
think
people
most people
just
are good
need to
people.
know that there are like it's not so far away. Like it's here.
Yeah,
It's not a
it's
problem
right
somewhere
down the
else. It's
street.
a problem right here. So all of us
Love the
can
people around
work
you.
on being a solution. Yeah.
Get to know your neighbors. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's to foster care. Well,
Yes.
here's to good foster care.
Yes, yes. And Proctor Care and
Yeah.
because that's
Pro
I think
yeah.
that's mostly like I said where it's just for like giving relief for families who they
See, and
do
I don't
have
think a lot of
disabled.
people know that's an option. Like you can do it for short periods of time.
Yeah, yeah, and just give them just a little reprieve to go on a vacation or something,
Yeah.
or 'cause it's not that they don't love and want that person with them, but like in the case of a lot of the
Sometimes it
people
just
that
doesn't make
stayed with
sense.
us intermittently, it was just that they couldn't have enjoyed or even really understood or participated because of the level of disability.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've wondered about like who is that person living for? Like the man who army crawled
Yeah.
into my room with cerebral palsy, so he was like in a chair. He was blind and he
Hmm.
was deaf, but he's been that way his whole life, so he's still perceiving things the same way he always has. So it's normal to him. But I'm like, there's no way to ask him if
Yeah.
he's happy and he's not actively like living. So I'm like, who? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Good question. But if you're here and you're loved, then
Yeah,
at least there's
but
that option.
as long as he was happy, but it seemed like his life was for somebody else. Somebody else just him being
Yeah.
alive meant more than him having, whether or not there was
Life.
quality of life, you know? And I
Hmm.
think people need to think more about that. Like just being alive is not enough. sometimes. And not to say it isn't. We all get to decide what's okay for us, but that's I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, that's a whole topic for another day.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be
All
alive?
right.
But anyway, that was a really good topic. I liked your sisters. They're awesome.
I like them too. All right. Well,
It's
we'll have
fun
to
to
have
see
your
them all.
sisters on sometime.
Okay, we will.
I
Absolutely.
don't think we can do trauma salad with them though. We'll have to do
We'll have to do something
well,
else. We'll figure it out.
the musical family.
The musical family. We'll go for musical trauma.
You probably have that. I had to
Maybe.
practice on the piano.
All the time. No, my mom was good about it. We have no trauma.
Speaking of
But
music, Mike,
right, it's the theme song.
maybe
I'll
an
get right on
outro
that.
right here. Dun, dun, dun,
Dun
dun.
dun 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 dun. I like it.
Okay. I love you.
Okay,
Bye, Lilas.
Lilas.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.